It's 11:47 p.m. You're lying in bed, and instead of sleeping, you're doing math. Not real math. Guilt math. If I wake up at 5, I can get a workout in, read for 20 minutes, and still be at my desk by 7. You haven't even closed your eyes yet, and you're already exhausted by tomorrow. Sound familiar? You check your phone one more time. Another productivity reel. Another person telling you that successful people wake up at 4 a.m. That rest is for people who haven't found their purpose yet. That if you're not optimizing, you're falling behind. So you open your notes app and add 3 more things to a to-do list that was already too long this morning. We are told constantly to do more, build more, hustle more. But almost nobody is talking about what happens when being productive stops being a tool you use and becomes the only way you know how to feel okay. That's the dark side of always being productive. Productivity itself isn't the villain here. Getting things done, building skills, making progress, that's good. That's not what we're attacking. The problem is what happens when productivity becomes your identity instead of your tool. Here's the test. Ask yourself this. If you took a full day off, no work, no side project, would you feel relaxed or would you feel guilty? If your honest answer is guilt, you're not relaxing in your free time. You're recovering just enough to go again. They take breaks because their body forces them to, and the moment they recover even slightly, they're right back at it, often feeling ashamed about the time they lost. This is the core mechanism. Productivity stops being something you do and becomes something you need in order to feel like a worthwhile person. And once self-worth is tied to output, rest doesn't feel like rest anymore, and it feels like falling behind. So why does this happen to genuinely smart, capable people? 3 reasons. First, productivity gives an illusion of control. Life is unpredictable, but a to-do list that you can control. Checking boxes gives a hit of certainty in a world that has very little of it. Second, busyness has become a status symbol. Saying "I'm so busy" used to be a complaint. Now it's almost a brag. Nobody posts about the 3 hours they spent doing nothing on a Sunday, but everyone posts the 5 a.m. gym selfie. That's not an accident. It's social reinforcement training people to perform productivity even when it's not actually making their life better. Third, and this is the big one, rest has been reframed as laziness. Somewhere along the way, doing nothing got rebranded as wasting time. When every single hour of your day is measured against output, there's no room left to just exist without justifying it. Put those 3 together, control, status, and the shame around rest, and you get a generation of people who physically cannot sit still without feeling like they're failing. Now here's where it actually gets dangerous, because this doesn't just cost you a free Saturday. It costs you in ways that compound quietly until they show up loudly. The first cost is your decision making. A brain that never rests doesn't get sharper. It gets duller. Constant busyness narrows your thinking. You stop being able to step back and ask, is this even the right thing to be doing? Because you're too deep in doing to evaluate. Ironically, the people who never stop working often make worse decisions than the people who give themselves room to think. The second cost is your relationships. Time with people who matter to you doesn't produce a deliverable. It doesn't show up on a resume. So in a productivity-obsessed mindset, it quietly gets deprioritized. Not because you don't love these people, but because your brain has been trained to value output, and connection doesn't look like output. People wake up years later realizing they optimized their career and neglected the relationships that were supposed to make that career worth having. The third cost is the most personal one, your relationship with yourself. When your worth is tied to your output, every unproductive day becomes evidence that you're not good enough. That's an exhausting way to live. It means you are never actually safe, never actually enough, because there's always a next task that proves whether you deserve to feel okay about yourself. Okay, so what do you actually do about this? Not vague advice like practice self-care. Real specific shifts. First, separate rest from earning. Stop treating rest as something you unlock after enough work. Schedule it in advance like a meeting you can't cancel. Not, I'll relax once I finish this, because there's always something else after that. Put rest on the calendar before the week starts, the same way you'd block time for a client call. Second, do one unproductive thing on purpose with no goal attached. Watch a show with no second screen. Take a walk with no podcast and no step count. Sit outside with your phone in another room. This feels uncomfortable at first, and that discomfort is the addiction talking. The goal isn't to enjoy it instantly. The goal is to prove to your brain that you're allowed to exist without producing something. Third, redefine what a good day means. Instead of measuring days only by what you finished, start asking, did I feel present today? Did I enjoy any part of this? A day isn't wasted just because the to-do list wasn't cleared. Most to-do lists are never actually done, they just refill. If you're waiting for the list to be empty before you let yourself feel good, you'll be waiting forever. Fourth, and probably the most important one, separate your worth from your output, on purpose, with evidence. This sounds abstract, so make it concrete. Actually write down 3 things about yourself that have nothing to do with what you produce. Maybe you're a good listener. Maybe you're loyal. Maybe you make people laugh. Read that list on the days you didn't get much done. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on your task completion rate. It only feels that way because you've been trained to measure it that way. The most productive people you admire aren't running at 100% all the time. They're not posting that. What they actually do, consistently behind the scenes, it is rest on purpose so they can perform when it counts. The grind isn't the strategy. The recovery is what makes the grind sustainable. So here's your permission to stop grinding. If this hit home, comment, rest. Share this with someone who's running on empty.